Hello Frack, I'm Asio. So today I'm going to be reviewing Sakura due to the votes that I received on my previous unboxing and subscribers choice video. So we're going to be looking at Sakura. Here's the presentation. Like I've said in that video, they didn't even have the sticker there, so I think they're still testing it in their flagship. And then you open it this way, and then you have the standard looking Dior Privee bottles, although the Dior Sauvage in their designer line does look like this one, just a smaller version of it. And then really light juice color here, like a light purple or light pink mix between the two colors there. So that's overall the presentation. Standard, nothing new. So on to the fragrance. So when I heard about the new releases, Sakura was what attracted me the most. What comes to mind is pretty much cherry blossom. I was a little bit anxious because there's not a lot of cherry blossom trees that actually have a smell, only few species. So it's up to, and I don't think they have an oil or a note per se that represents cherry blossom. So it's up to the perfumer's interpretation along with the craftsmanship that they have to be able to replicate that using the combinations of notes to come up with the accord of cherry blossom. So obviously a lot of things can go wrong when you think about the vision or the interpretation of the perfumer to the implementation part and then the skill set that is required to actually be able to bring that to life as you envision it. But the reason I was relieved and then I went with the blind buy on this one is because Dior was doing the interpretation. I've been really pleased with what they've had released in the past, so I decided to take a gamble. And then for the week that I've been testing Sakura, I'm really pleased with it. So I'm gonna describe what I get and then why I like it, and then hopefully I give you enough detail to allow you to decide based on your palate or your taste, your preferences, if this is something even worth your time or not. And then if it is, to go for a sample if you can. Hopefully they would release these ones soon in the US. So on to smell. So what I get out of this one, like I said, it is not a complex fragrance at all. It is actually really simple, but it's the finer points in this fragrance that make it work for me. It's really elegant and effortless in feel and in weight. And I think they captured really well that cherry blossom theme in this fragrance. So what I get out of this fragrance, at the top, for the first 5 minutes, I get this subtle, smooth, silky vegetal accord, kind of smelling the stem of a plant up close. And then you're getting that slightly green vegetal feel from it. Nothing herbaceous or nothing overly herbal or medicinal. It is subtle, and it gives you that slight vegetal plant stem feel to it. And then pretty much within 5 to 10 minutes, I get the addition of a floral note that is not overly heavy or powerful or even sweet at all. So what I get is a pairing between lilac and a pink pastel rose accord. The overlay between those two notes come off as a different floral, and it actually captures the cherry blossom picture that I have in my mind in terms of feel and scent, and then also in terms of weight. Like I said, if you've noticed in the beginning, this fragrance is really effortless. It wears beautifully. Like I said, not complex. It's just a soothing fragrance to me. So the weight that I described and then the smell, so you're gonna get something that is reminiscent of a lilac combination between lilac accord and a pink pastel rose, and the weight is airy. So what you get around is pretty much this airy floral note that is not overly sweet, not heavy. And then you get also the addition of that slightly vegetal core that even adds a beautiful character to the floral. So it's like smelling a full-blown floral from the stem to actually the flower itself. And then after 10 minutes though, something unexpected but enjoyable happens. So what I get is something that anchors down the fragrance, but not in an imposing way. They blend pretty well together, the two layers. It plays beautifully with that, and then the contrast is really nice. So you get this anchoring feel, but you also get this contrasting airy accord from the floral and then the vegetal tinge that you get in the opening. Now, the base, you're not gonna get a distinct almondy, nutty accord. You're not gonna get a distinct vanilla. They're so much well blended together that what comes off to mind is just this creamy base sitting on your skin that has a slightly slightly sweet accord along with a nutty creamy feel to it. That's pretty much it. And then much later on down the line, it becomes less creamy, and I get like a pale nondescript woody accord that is faint. But then it becomes less creamy. Back to the recap, what I get out of this fragrance, again, a faultless, airy top of a pairing between lilac and a pastel pink rose, and underneath that I get this slightly faint vegetal green accord that gives you the illusion of smelling something that is in nature. So from the greenery to the faint floral facets of this fragrance, and underneath that, anchoring that, is a semi-heavy base that comes off as a creamy vanilla along with a slightly nutty almondy facet, and then the dry down, it becomes a little less creamy, and it gives you a nondescript woody accord paired with that vanilla and then the nutty almonds. And of course, the florals are going to tone over time, but you always get faint traces of that vegetal floral accord, again in weight and in theme, something that is pastel, almost like watercolor weight there. So that's pretty much what I get out of the fragrance, and that's what I love about this one. You can wear it pretty much anywhere. Like I said, effortless, soothing. It just hugs the skin, and then again, it's important to me. And then what I've noticed during the wearing of this fragrance, and when my girlfriend was testing this, is the scent bubble that it creates around you. Nothing abrasive, just cool, soothing, and then really airy without being too fleeting. Stays like that for a long time. So transitioning to performance, like I've mentioned, and then a hint to that, like I've mentioned before, this one performs really well. I get between 8 and 9 hours of longevity projection, and the scent bubble around me good for 4 to 5 hours, and after that it becomes a skin scent, but when somebody gets close to you, easily noticeable. Back to the performance, like I said, outstanding performance for what I get out of this one. I'm surprised that the floral accords and then the like vegetal tinge to it is actually present throughout the wearing of the fragrance there. Even though it tones down, it is still perceptible. And that base is a beautiful twist to the floral accord. Again, not too sweet, not too heavy on the florals. So that's why I like this one a lot. Like I've mentioned, this one, you can wear it in any scenario. For a female, signature scent worthy. For a male, I think you can also pull this one on a regular basis. I've been wearing this for a week to the office, and like I said, even to bed, and I usually don't wear fragrances to bed. That's how soothing this one is to me. So before I rate this fragrance, I'm gonna go on to my perception of what the brand is doing actually, currently. So their previous releases have been pretty creative, unique, really well varied there. So you always almost are certain to find something that is appealing to you. The only one that I didn't like or I couldn't wear from the previous line was Dior Leather Oud. That one, it was it was a hard thing for me to pull off, so I never went back to that. But pretty much the rest of the line, pretty nice there. Even the vetiver that I recently got, I'm glad that I got that one, is actually working pretty well. But I'm gonna touch on the full review later on that. Back to the trend that I've noticed with the recent releases. So if you've tried La Colle Noire, you will have a pretty good idea of what they're doing for the rest of the line, or at least what I've sampled so far, from Sakura, Terabella, which is fairly recent, to Jorissima, which is also fairly recent. They have this non-complex, light, airy, fresher take on fragrances for the Privee line, and I've noticed that they're almost all of them that I've tried are on the safer side, mass appealing fragrances. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the older line, but I think that they should retain that shelf space, and managing all that, they might not. They might end up cutting some, I don't know. But I think if they're still going towards the trend that I'm noticing here, I'm gonna miss some of the daring fragrances that I've created in the previous line. I hope that they retain that level of creativity and then shock value that I've created before, like Oud Ispahan, Eau Noire, for example, is a good one. Mitsa, for example, I think that one is a masterpiece, like you already know. So I hope that they still come up with things like that, and not so much focus on mass appealing, really simple fragrances, although they play well with the finer points, like I've said in this one. And Terabella, let me tell you, I was really surprised by this one, but I'm going to review that next as well. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with what they're doing. I'm just scared that they're going to go too mainstream and then lose that creativity or interesting factor that they've had on the previous offering in the Privee line. So if you think otherwise, if you agree with me, let me know down in the comment section below. So finally, on to rating. So take into account how well they've been able to capture that cherry blossom accord with twists, beautiful finer twists here and there. I would give this an 8 out of 10. I think it is worth trying. Again, like I said, trust your nose. It's worth trying if you're into what this fragrance does, or you've been looking for a cherry blossom centered fragrance that is not too sweet or doesn't come off too heavy on the floral. And then again, a little twist from the vegetal accord there, and then the base, beautiful. Now, if you don't like florals, even though they're subtle here, they're not too heavy, or you're looking for something that is complex, Sakura will not do it. Again, you trust your nose, and then you take into account your inclinations, your preferences. A reviewer's opinion on a fragrance or rating on a fragrance reflects his own or her own preferences, and they tend to extrapolate that to people who might like it. So it's up to you at that point to decide what scent goes into your sample category or bucket, or ignore bucket there. So again, the choice is yours. If it doesn't appeal to you, then you need to skip it. If it's something that is right up your alley, definitely sample it. But ultimately, the decision is up to you. I'm gonna review next Terabella, and then stay tuned for this one because I thought that one was pretty good. Again, thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and then take care. Bye.